Hello everyone, this is Simon from writtenlegalenglish.com and welcome to this video. Last week it was the first week of our competition and I asked you to redraft a text. In this video I want to go through the criteria I used to mark your answers and to choose the winner, and my suggested answers about how I would redraft that text. Okay, if you weren't following my videos last week, this is the text I asked you to redraft. Let me quickly read through it now. If goods supplied by a seller are altered, adapted or repaired by any person other than the one authorized by a seller in writing and otherwise than as authorized by the seller in writing, all liability of the seller to the buyer under this agreement for such repair or otherwise shall cease. Now, when I was looking at your answers, I was marking them against the criteria that you can see next to me. Now, sometimes I'm going to give you criteria, but other times I'm not going to, because I just want to see how you deal with a problem. So I'm going to say there's a text, there is a problem in this text, identify the issues yourself and do your best to redraft it, because that's how you would approach your own writing. You would do your own writing, do the first draft, and you would critically analyze your own writing and say, is this okay? Is there an issue here? If there's an issue here, what can I do about it? So it's just to promote that skill set and develop those skills of analyzing writing, your own writing, and seeing if you can make it better somehow. In this particular case, the criteria I was using, as you can see, is that you divide up the messages because there are several things being said here, that you make the language simpler but keep it professional, that you remove problematic legal English and not add it in. So shall is a problematic legal English word. I've done lots of videos on this in the past. If you want to find out why, then I'll link to some of those videos below or above this video, depending where you're watching. And I didn't want you to miss out important information or make material changes, which is what can happen if you are redrafting someone else's text, something that I've got to be careful when I'm doing my job as a proofreader. Okie dokie, so let's continue. Okay, to see those messages, one thing that you can do is simply use the Enter key. And this is something that I do a lot when I have a difficult message. And as you can see, all I've done here is I've taken that original text and after every point, or what I think is a relevant point, I've just hit the Enter key. And that just drops the information on the next line down. And when you do that throughout the text and you divide it up, as you can see here, it makes the text a little bit easier to deal with. You can actually see the points, and then you can start to work out the relationships between those points. So that's definitely something that you can do in all future videos when I'm doing this competition, or when you meet a difficult text and you copy and paste it, put it into a different document, hit the Enter key and break it up. So that's definitely something I recommend that you do. The second thing we can do is look at that problematic language and see if we can just change it and make those simple changes. So shall means many different things, or is understood as meaning many different things. So what does it actually mean in this context? The second thing we can do is look at language which we don't use normally in everyday communication and see if we can use a synonym, an appropriate synonym of some kind. So for example, cease can be changed to end. And of course, many people know what end means as compared to cease. And then you've got the bigger problem of how do I rephrase that message once I've broken a text up, I know what the messages are. When I've replaced that difficult language, how do I then go about communicating that message in a simpler way? And in a second, I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you could have possibly done that. Okay, behind me you can see 2 suggested redrafts, which are slightly different redrafts, but they're both based on forms of tabulation. In the first one, I've got inline tabulation. In the second one, as you can see, I've got what I call full tabulation. So I'm using plenty of white space to break up the text, bullet points in this case, to show the reader these are the important things. So let's quickly go through them. If A, someone who we have not authorized alters, adapts or repairs the goods we have supplied, or B, it has not been done in the way we have specified in writing, then all liability we have towards you under this agreement ends. It's easier to read, easier to understand. The second one, if the goods we supply are altered, adapted, or repaired by someone we have not authorized, or the condition in A has been met but has been done in a different way to that we have specified in writing, then all liability we have towards you under this agreement ends. Now you can see here in that second one, I've added in a little bit of text in the second point, because I see these two, I understand this as the 2 points not being separate points, which is what you might understand from the first one, but that the second one is conditional or is somehow connected to the first point. Now, an easier way to show this information, if you're feeling brave, is to use a table like I've done right here. So you can see that there are two questions, and you start off with question 1. If the goods we have supplied to you have been altered, adapted, or repaired, was this done by the person we authorized? We've got 2 answers, yes and no. If it's yes, then we go on to question 2. If it's no, then we can see our liability towards you under this agreement ends. Question 2 says, has this been done in the way we have specified in writing? If it's yes, liability continues. If it's no, then the liability ends. Now, you're going to have to be brave to use tables in your legal writing, but one thing is clear from the studies and the research that's been done is that the readers much prefer this kind of presentation of information as opposed to having everything in line. Even if it's tabulated in line, readers prefer something like this as opposed to just blocks of text. Okay, I hope that you took something away from this video. I hope those teaching tips will be useful. Certainly, if you're going to do the competition redraft tomorrow, you will need to learn some of the things that I've just gone through in this video. So if you want to watch this video again, please do so. If you've got any questions at all, then leave them below, and hopefully you'll have a go at my competition question tomorrow.